the roar beyond the trees. At the edge of a deep, wild jungle lay a small village called Damari. The people of Damari lived simple lives: farmers, woodcutters, and herders. The air was filled with the sound of the river, the chirping of birds, and sometimes the chilling roar of a beast that haunted every dream. That roar belonged to Sharon, the terror of Damari, a massive Bengal tiger whose golden eyes glowed like fire in the night. No one knew when he first appeared, but ever since that day, the villagers lived in fear. Every few nights, a cow, a goat, or sometimes a person would vanish. Only blood-stained footprints remained. The elders warned everyone not to go near the jungle after sunset. But fear has a way of turning into anger, and the anger of Damari was now burning in one young man's heart. His name was Arun. Arun was 22, strong and fearless. His father had been one of Sharon's victims. That night, Arun had been only 16, hiding in the hut, hearing his father's last cry echo through the darkness. Since then, revenge had become a silent storm in his heart. While others prayed for safety, Arun prepared for battle. He learned to track, to move without sound, to listen to the heartbeat of the forest. Old Gopal Dada, the village hunter, taught him how to read footprints, how to recognize the signs of a predator. "You can't fight a tiger with hate, boy," Gopal once told him. "You fight him with understanding. You must think like him." Arun nodded, but deep inside, he knew this was personal. One evening, the sky burned orange as the sun dipped behind the jungle. The villagers were gathering near the river when suddenly a scream tore through the calm air. "Sharon! Sharon has taken another." A young shepherd boy, barely 12, had been snatched from the grazing field. By the time the villagers reached, only the boy's stick and blood remained. That night, the jungle roared louder than ever before. The next morning, the village elders gathered. "This cannot go on," one said. "We must ask the city for help." But Arun stood up. "By the time they come, more will die. I'll go. Alone." The crowd went silent. His mother wept. "You'll die, Arun. That beast is death itself." Arun's eyes burned like fire. "Then I'll face death before it faces us again." At dawn, Arun packed his bow, a spear, and 3 iron-tipped arrows. He tied a red cloth around his wrist, his father's old talisman, and stepped into the misty green walls of the jungle. The forest swallowed him whole. Every sound was alive: rustling leaves, chirping cicadas, the crack of twigs beneath his feet. The smell of earth mixed with danger. Arun followed the tracks. Large, deep paw prints pressed into the soft mud near the stream. The tiger had passed not long ago. Hours turned into day. Sweat rolled down Arun's neck, his muscles tense. He moved like a shadow. Then he heard it, a faint growl, low and deep. He froze. His heart thundered in his chest. Through the thick vines, he saw him, Sharon. The tiger's coat shimmered under the filtered sunlight, his muscles rippling with power. His amber eyes met Arun's for the first time, calm, deadly, and curious. Arun slowly raised his bow. The string tightened. His finger trembled. But Sharon vanished into the tall grass, silent as the wind. Darkness fell. Arun built a small fire and set traps around his camp: spikes, nooses, and a baited goat tied to a post. He knew Sharon would come. Tigers always returned to their territory. The jungle grew quiet, too quiet. Even the insects stopped singing. Then came a sound, a low rumble, deep as thunder. Sharon emerged from the shadows, eyes glowing like molten gold. He circled the camp, slow and deliberate. The goat bleated in panic. Arun held his spear tight. Sweat dripped down his forehead. Every breath felt heavy. Suddenly, the tiger lunged. Arun rolled aside, just as the beast's claws slashed through the air. The spear flashed and struck Sharon's shoulder. The tiger roared in fury, the sound shaking the very trees. Arun fell, the spear torn from his grip. Sharon turned, ready to finish it. For a moment, the world froze. Man and beast locked in a single heartbeat of rage and survival. Arun's hand groped for something. Anything. and found his father's knife. When Shera leapt, Arun plunged the blade deep into his side. The roar that followed wasn't of victory. It was of pain, primal and endless. The tiger staggered back, blood staining his fur. Arun, bleeding from his arm, rose to his feet. The firelight flickered across his face. "Go back," he whispered. "This ends here." Sharon's chest heaved. For a moment, the tiger looked at him, not as prey, not as an enemy, but as another creature of the wild. Then, with one last glance, Sharon disappeared into the darkness. Equals when dawn came. The villagers found Arun at the edge of the jungle, limping, covered in mud and blood, but alive. The people surrounded him, astonished. "Did you kill him?" they asked. Arun shook his head. "No, I taught him fear, the same fear he gave us." Days passed. Sharon never returned. The jungle grew quiet again. The villagers called Arun a hero, but he never saw himself that way. One evening, he stood by the river, watching the reflection of the trees ripple across the water. Gopal Dada came and stood beside him. "You didn't kill him," Gopal said softly. "You changed the balance." Arun nodded. "Maybe peace isn't in killing. It's in understanding what drives even a beast." Gopal smiled. "Your father would be proud." The sun sank behind the jungle once more, golden light spilling over the fields. The roar that once haunted the village had become a distant memory. A story parents told their children about a young man who walked into the forest not to destroy, but to face his fear. Years later, travelers passing through Damari spoke of a lone tiger seen deep within the forest, older, scarred, but calm. They called him the Silent King. And sometimes, on quiet nights, when the wind carried the scent of the jungle, Arun could still hear a faint roar, not of threat, but of respect. It was as if the jungle itself whispered his name. True courage isn't about killing your enemy. It's about facing your fear, understanding its nature, and rising above it.